Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to inspire a world where food makes us better. Guys, my name is Shurina. I'm a certified nutritionist, health and transitioning more and more into productivity coach, meaning I'm still a nutritionist, I'm still a nutrition and health coach, but now I'm helping people to use nutrition and different behavior tools based on neuroscience. I help people to use nutrition as a tool to improve productivity, to improve energy, focus, attention, creativity, memory, all these amazing things that are required for us to shine, to deliver work that really stands out, instead of just, punching in hours and delivering mediocre stuff that doesn't really matter. So that's why I'm now also a productivity coach, but not the productivity coach that would help you with time management or, using certain apps. No, I actually help you to change your hardware, meaning your body and your brain. And those are the things that ultimately deliver the most effective kind of productivity. Because when your brain, when your body, they work together, they are as productive as they can be. You don't need any apps or time management. It kind of comes naturally to you. You don't need a ton of apps to help you to manage your distractions. You'll be able to naturally focus on what's important and tune out the rest of the world. Yeah, guys, that's what nutrition can give you. No apps required. And that's why I'm very passionate about delivering this new type of service that I'm focusing on right now. That being said, guys, back to the useful stuff. Today we're talking about brain no-nos, or those substances, not so much foods actually, but substances and ingredients that can give you anything from ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, to brain fog, to memory loss, to anxieties, to panic attack. Yeah, different ingredients in our foods can actually give you all of that. And it's not like something is broken in, it's just different substances and combinations of ingredients can create certain neurochemistry or brain chemistry, and also, of course, the chemistry in your body that create those states of anxiety or lack of focus or too much activity, but activity that is not focused towards what's important, right? It's kind of like all over the place. You are wired, but, all over the place, not sure where to apply that super energetic state. And you can't really tune out the distractions and focus that energy on the important work. So those no-nos also can contribute to different mood disorders. Like, you wake up and you're kind of like out of it. You're low, your mood is low, you're not motivated, you're feeling blue. Everything that you do have in your life seems kind of pointless or meaningless. So brain chemistry, body chemistry, and those substances that we are talking about today, they are all connected. And I highly recommend you to eliminate these substances completely. Let's start with one. Guys, fats and oils in our takeout and restaurant meals. This is a huge thing, guys, because most of the people are having them more or less regularly. People cook less and less and rely on food out, and not the kind of food out that is of great quality, where owners understand the science of nutrition and literally try to deliver, the best quality, and they don't use those oils that when you cook with them at high temperatures, they oxidize, they create trans fats, they become pro-inflammatory. Like, let's take, for example, canola oil. It's not even the worst, actually, because some establishment, a lot of them actually, still use something like partially or fully hydrogenated oils or different margarines and spreads that in a lot of countries actually are still legal. And those trans fats, they are proven to lead to cardiovascular diseases and all kinds of disorders that we don't really know how directly they contribute to. But trans fats, for example, are not out of food circulation in many countries. European Union, they banned them. A few other countries, I actually don't know the whole list of countries, but in a lot of countries they're still out there. You can use them, and most restaurants will use them because they're cheap. And so the cheaper the oil, the lower the bottom line, the expenses in a business, and the better it is for the business. And what happens to you, to your brain in 20 years? Nobody cares. People in restaurant business do not have nutrition degrees, even though they deal with food. So guys, when you are eating out, you are relying on someone else expertise, and they have none. Like most restaurants, they're not opened by nutritionists. I mean, some are, but very few, like very tiny percentage. I don't know what, but you probably can count them on the fingers of both of your hands. So when you eat takeout and restaurant food, they use all kinds of cheap oils and fats a lot of times they would reuse them, especially, fast food establishment. That's like the worst kind of oils. They use them, they reuse them, very high temperatures, and you consume these fats in your food. Sometimes you don't even see them on your food. It's not like it's floating in those fats. No, because food absorbs that fat. But what happens is when it's in your body, those fats, they do three things. They compromise your gut lining, so your gut becomes leaky air, and that means that substances that are supposed to be in your gut and probably taken out of your digestive tract through pooping, they actually go into your bloodstream and they trigger your immune system. They create damage, and they increase inflammation, and they increase oxidative stress. And inflammation triggers immune system, oxidative stress, and all kinds of particles that are not supposed to be in our blood, possibly even pathogens and different viruses. They're floating in your blood. So all of that actually affects your brain in a very, very negative way. I personally, when I eat out and I have something that was sauteed or braised, cooked at high temperature with usually quite some oil, some sort of fat, I usually have a headache, either in a few hours if I had lunch, for example, or the next morning. That's just a given. And some people say, or I eat out Chinese and I have this headache. It's probably MSG. Maybe, but maybe it just that fat and oil that they use, especially Chinese restaurants. A lot of them use a lot of cheap oils that are, again, oxidized, reused, and there are some trans fats floating in it. And so if you eat out quite often on a regular basis, your brain gonna suffer. And in 20, 30 years, you might start losing your memory. Your brain will start slowing down. You might even get things like dementia or Alzheimer's. I do not wish you to lose your mind when you're still alive. This is the worst kind of thing, when your body still works, but your brain doesn't. And we experience this world through our brain. So this is the worst kind of condition to be in. Kind of alive, but kind of really not in life, because your brain doesn't work, right? So these oils, takeout meals, restaurant meals, they're just not good for you. Like right now, at the moment, restaurant industry is probably the worst danger for your health, especially if you are looking into what you eat, but you eat out often. Of course, I'm not talking about, your smoothies, your salads, or something that's steamed or poached and basically cooked without any oil, or, raw and not cooked. Grilled, if it's grilled without oil, it's a different thing. Now, of course, if you expose foods to higher temperature, like, for example, you grill your meat at a very high temperature, there are some carcinogenic compounds that are going to be created. And it's also not that amazing for your brain. But if you grill your vegetables, it's probably really not a big deal, and you can feel pretty well. But if there was some oil, some oil or fat that was used on whatever you got grilled, then that's a bad idea for your brain. So takeout and restaurant meals are cooked in oils and fats. This is a really, really, really bad idea. Also, any kinds of packaged foods that on the ingredient list have oils like canola oil, cottonseed oil, peanut oil. If you eat roasted nuts and they're roasted in oil, it actually says what oil on the ingredient list, and unless it's coconut oil or some ghee or butter, that's just never happens. I highly recommend you to get your nuts dry roasted without any oils. When you roast nuts dry, you roast them and you expose them to higher temperatures, but because fats and oils are naturally occurring in nuts and seeds, they are protected by cell structures, because it's whole food. That is, nothing usually to worry about. But when you roast your nuts and seeds in some oil that is polyunsaturated fatty acids, that is polyunsaturated fat, that is basically what it means. It's unstable, and when exposed to high temperatures, it gets oxidized very easily. High temperatures or a lot of light. So oils, fats in takeout, in restaurant meals, and in roasted nuts, and in a lot of packaged foods, really bad idea for your brain, guys. It can lead to nerve damage. It can lead to brain cell damage, to more inflammation, more oxidative stress. And for you, it just means brain fog. In 20, 30 years, you might lose your memory. You might not remember things. You might not think that clearly. Again, you might even get dementia or Alzheimer's. Guys, do not wish you on you. That's why please take action now. The second thing is emulsifiers and all kinds of ingredients that you would not find in your kitchen. If you buy packaged foods, please do check out the ingredients. And if you see ingredients that you wouldn't find in your kitchen, that you don't recognize them, that's probably not a good idea for your brain and for your gut. It's either gonna not help you with your gut lining, meaning compromise it and create a leakier gut. To what degree it's going to become leaky, it depends on many factors. If you didn't know, our gut is actually becoming a little bit leaky every day, but usually a healthy body repairs it really fast. But if you eat all these ingredients, and if you eat all the time, don't allow the fasting time, and don't allow the gut the time without food to do the repair, then your gut lining can get worse and worse and worse, and it can really create a lot of problems. And again, leaky gut is a really bad news for your brain because it increases inflammation. A lot of stuff starts flowing in your blood that is not supposed to be there, and it's never good news for your brain, because brain relies on your blood a lot and what's flowing in it, right? So any kinds of ingredients that were not in our food supply for the past 20 years, emulsifiers and a lot of ingredients with different scientific names, not a good news for your brain, guys, for many different reasons. Yeah, they are recognized as safe in many countries, but what it basically means is it's not going to kill you. It's not going to give you food poisoning. But what's going to happen to you and your brain in 5, 10, 20 years? Nobody cares. And there were no studies ever done on that ingredient. That's just how it works in our system, guys. Nobody tests everything for what happens to you in 20, 30 years. They wouldn't, what was introduced in our food supply 20 years ago, you wouldn't even know. It was a lot of ingredients were introduced just a year ago, a couple of years ago. We just don't know. We just know one thing. It's not going to kill you today or, in a month from now. And that's why weird ingredients you don't understand, please eliminate it from your food supply. Now, once in a while, on a holiday vacation that happens maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, right? It's okay. Especially not big amounts, it's totally fine. Your body will handle it. But when it's in your food supply, also look at your supplements, guys. You might think, I eat all healthy, but I take this protein shake that has 30 ingredients and has emulsifiers and different kinds of sweeteners, natural and not natural, and all kinds of ingredients that even I, as a nutritionist, have hard times recognizing. So you might think, oh, I eat all healthy, but all these supplements. So make sure that ingredient list of your supplements is also pretty clean. If you not sure that your supplement is okay, please reach out. You can find me on many social media platforms. You can reach out via email, and I'll let you know, is it good? Would I avoid it? Or is it like, what is a better alternative? Right? It all matters, guys, especially again, if it's something you consume on a more or less regular basis. It might not affect you in a day, in 2 days, but over the course of several months, it will affect you for sure. So emulsifiers, different kinds of ingredients, and now we're getting to sweeteners. And yesterday I was talking to a client. He is an athlete, arm wrestler, who is getting ready to become world champion. And so he asked me, about a supplement, and the supplement had sucralose, and I recommended the one without it. And he asked me, but isn't all kind of the same? Water is better, but if it's not water, is it all kind of the same? Well, actually not. So sucralose, for example, it's an artificial sweetener. It's created in a lab by manipulating, molecules of different nature. Stevia, for example, compared to that, is a leaf. It's kind of like an herb that has sweet taste. It has nothing to do with actual sugar or sweetener, really. It just has sweet taste. And these two, for example, have completely different effect on your gut, on your metabolism. And the tricky part is it's a little bit different with everyone. And so it's hard to prove by studies that this thing causes, dysregulation of your blood sugar and your insulin. I'm talking about sucralose, right? But some studies have shown that, human studies. And in some people, it's worse than in others. And also it depends on how much of it you consume, with what food or without food, in what form, right? But in any case, just like with as ingredients that are generally recognized as safe, with sweeteners, you also want to kind of be careful. And I would not recommend you to use any additional sweeteners at all on a regular basis. But if you do have to use them, I would go with something completely natural, like stevia or monk fruit extract, that have usually benefits, like some antioxidants or some other phytochemicals, plant compounds that can actually have positive effect, not negative, right? So all these details matter. So again, look at the ingredient list, and different sweeteners and substances that taste sweet, they do have different effect on your metabolism. And so some are okay for the brain, and like stevia, probably. Others are not so okay, at least for some people. And now we are moving towards sugars, natural sugars that occur in foods and food products. Now, we have sugars in natural foods occurring completely natural, like things like fruit or, sweet potatoes. Beans don't have much, but usually grains and foods with carbohydrates would have some sugars in them. Usually carbohydrates in different whole foods, they come in different forms. Some are fiber, some are sugars, some are starch. So different kinds of carbohydrates in whole foods. The difference between whole foods and foods that were made with added sugars, let's take, croissant or a pancake, right? Those are things with added sugars, processed, refined sugars were added to them. Compare that to something like an apple that also has natural sugars occurring in them, but not added, right? So apple will have completely different effect on your blood sugar because of fiber, because of water, because you have to chew it more. It's all going to slow down the absorption of sugars. Plus, all the phytochemicals or plant compounds, different kinds of antioxidants in apple will interact with your body and your hormones and your blood sugar with your carbohydrates. And so the effect of an apple is completely completely different from the effect of, let's say, pancake with some, honey or some fake syrup, because a lot of natural syrups are expensive, and so in most establishments they use the fake ones that kind of look like maple syrup but not really. Anyhow, so pancakes will have completely different effect. Most of the pancakes are made from refined to white or not so white flour, and then you have another sort of sugar in, let's say, syrup, right, or maybe chocolate chips, and those are refined sugars. There is not much fiber, if any, and there are no phytochemicals or antioxidants, and so the effect on your blood sugar is going to be completely different. More often than not, those processed foods with added sugars will spike your blood sugar, and then the body will release a lot of insulin because of that spike, and then your blood sugar will plummet. And besides having this really not nice effect on your blood sugar, it's also going to spike your energy levels first up and then super down. It's also going to have the same effect on your mood. So first you can be up and happy and, working and motivated, and then it all going to go down probably in 30 minutes to an hour. And then you're just going to be on this roller coaster. But besides having this energy and mood and productivity roller coaster, it's also really bad for your brain to experience those blood sugar fluctuations, spikes, and then plummets. Your blood sugar for your healthy brain needs to be balanced. For your nerve cells, for your brain cells to do their job, to work properly. Plus, blood sugar spikes damage your blood vessels everywhere in your body, your brain including, and then you get poor blood circulations, vessels that are not effective, you get less oxygen, you get more inflammation, you get more oxidative stress. That's what it does, what happens when your blood sugar is all over the place. And that's why the food that is also a no-no for a healthy brain, high-performing, high-achieving brain with great memory, attention, and focus and creativity, right? For all of that to happen, for a healthy brain to stay healthy and productive, you need balanced blood sugar. And that's why foods with refined carbohydrates, it can be white bread, it can be regular pasta. I basically try to recommend to avoid anything that's made out of flour and that has added sugars or refined natural sugars, like, for example, orange juice. Orange juice by itself is liquid sugar and it's going to spike your blood sugar just as much, even probably much faster than, let's say, croissant, because sugar in liquid form always spikes your blood sugar much faster and much more. And so this is another no for a healthy brain. Things that spike your blood sugar, and usually those things are things with refined carbohydrates made out of flour. It doesn't necessarily have to be sweet, like if you have white toast, the same kind of sugar, just is not sweet. And, some juice that can even look green, but with a lot of fruit juice added to that, and super sweet, that will also spike your blood sugar, right? And that is, again, a no-no for your brain. And again, once in a while, on Thanksgiving, Christmas dinner, that's fine, if you have a piece of cake, or something similar. But if every day your breakfast consists of something like a sugary drink, frappuccino or bubble tea with some croissant or some cookie, every day you spike your blood sugar many times throughout the day, not a good idea for your brain. Really not a good idea. You can get today anything from ADHD to like a focus to brain fog, to memory loss, just having hard time remembering things, being productive the whole day, having hard time focusing and paying attention, and in 20, 30, 40 years, you might end up with dementia and Alzheimer's and all these, things that we don't want to have when our bodies still function and we're still alive. So to sum it up, the no-nos for the brain: takeout and restaurant meals and all the packaged foods that have oils and fats in them that more probably have some trans fats, were oxidized, were cooked with at high temperatures. Number one. Number two, all the weird ingredients that are generally recognized as safe, and all that means is that they're not going to kill you now, but might kill your brain in 20, 30 years, right? So anything from emulsifiers to artificial sweeteners to things you simply don't understand. I highly recommend you to not consume them on a regular basis. Number three, things that spike your blood sugar. It's kind of tricky for a lot of people. For some people, rice can spike your blood sugar. White rice can spike your blood sugar a lot, especially if you eat it by itself in bigger amounts. For some people, that thing not gonna happen. So it's different. It depends on meal composition, but especially foods that are made out of white flour, out of any sort of flour except for maybe nut flour. Refined carbohydrates, refined sugars, added sugars, liquid sugars, all of that most probably gonna spike your blood sugar, and that can create nerve damage, brain cell damage, oxidative stress, and inflammation. So all of these things are not great for a healthy, highly productive brain. And this list is pretty simple, but that basically means you need to look into every single item that you eat. And most probably you should not be eating out every day, eating things that are fried, sauteed, braised, made and cooked with any sorts of oil, especially in fast food establishment. That's a thing, right? And that's it, guys. If you have any questions, if you are in doubt, is this, meal, is this food, is this supplement okay for me to take on a regular basis, please reach out. There is a form in the show notes, a link to a form in the show that you can use to reach out. You can also email me, Angela@createyourself.today. You can reach out to my Instagram via DM, 1000 year young. That's my handle, the same on Twitter. And if you Google Angela Shurina, then you'll find me also, all of my social media. That's it for today, guys. Over the weekend, look at what you do over the weekend and see how many brain damaging items can be on your list, and try to eliminate them or minimize them a lot, because again, your brain, it matters. In 20, 30 years from now, even today, your body can be super functional. But then if your brain doesn't function that well, it doesn't really matter, because we experience life through our brain. All of our sensory experiences are being metabolized and absorbed and worked with in our brain. We experience life through our brain and through our senses. And when that doesn't work that well and you have a headache and brain fog, then nothing else really matters. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Have an awesome weekend, guys. And as usual, till next time, eat better daily.